Have you ever noticed that every single time you save the kids, their tents are set up with a gap? Well, I don't think this was an accident, but instead, this seems to be on purpose, giving us a hidden detail from the true story this game seems to have been based on that you might not know about. But first, let me explain. In the game, we go into a forest to save 4 missing children, but it's important why we came here in the first place. And it's also important how this bunny picked up all of my body weight like it was nothing. In the very beginning of the game, we see 4 different slides introducing us to the story and what's happening in this forest. It first tells us that there were sightings of a deer, and then the following week, 4 kids went missing in this same forest. And after the police searched the place, they couldn't find anything and locked down the forest. And finally, we're the ones to go in, trying to unravel this mystery. Now, we don't necessarily know a timeline as to when we entered the forest, but we do know that the deer was inside of it long before the kids were, meaning it's possible that these kids aren't related, but instead kids who just went to a park or a forest or a trail or something and then were hunted separately by the deer. But that's until we read what's above the slides that tells us that this game is based on a true story. And so far, most people think that the story was based on a plane crash in 2023, which had a few adults, including a mother and her 4 children. The mother and her kids were the only ones to survive the crash, but not long after, the mother passed away as well. And this left the kids to fight for themselves. But you might think that this means there's no possible chance that there'd be a 5th person, since the story only has 4 kids in it. But if you're a developer, you're not gonna put 3 tents right next to each other and then the 4th tent completely separate for no reason. Everything in games is made with a purpose, meaning there's likely a reason that this spot is empty. And since we know that the mother at least survived the crash for a little while, it's possible that the kids set up their tents in this way in order to honor their mother, who could have set her tent right there with them. But trust me, the story gets a lot crazier from here, because the deer seems to be a product, or rather experiment, made by the cultists, and this does connect in with the mother of the 4 kids as well. But the reason that I say this is 2 things. The first is that when you beat a stronghold, you find 2 items called cultist experiment and cultist prototype, showing that these cultists aren't just regular crazy people, but full-blown scientists or even engineers. But the second thing is when you go into what seems to be one of the I'm so sorry. No, don't look at me like that. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, man. But anyway, the second thing is when you go into what seems to be one of the cultists' hideouts, which has a room full of nothing but white and what seems to be a one-way mirror. And you would use this room in order to observe people or maybe even the deer itself. But just outside of that room, we find metal beds that have handcuffs on them, restricting anyone's movement if they were to lay down on it. But this bed is way, and I mean way too big for any human to use. But the deer might fit. And since we know that the deer is friendly to the cultists, since they're out at nighttime and never get attacked like we do, it's possible that the deer was actually created by the cultists as their main weapon or defense for this very forest. And it honestly does work pretty well, because with the deer always attacking us and not really letting us go outside at night, it's pretty hard to get your first 99 nights in this game. But what does this have to do with the 4 children and their mother story? Well, it's possible that after the mother passed away, the cultists could have taken her body and turned her into this deer, because we know that they're pretty intelligent and they're capable of doing this. But another thing that links the deer and their possible mother is the ending cutscene we get when you finally beat the game. In it, we see the deer reach out towards our campfire, but why would it be reaching out towards us? It surely can't want us that bad, since it could go eat other animals and maybe it was just trying to kill us because we were in its territory. It doesn't seem to want us in the same way that it wants whatever it's reaching for. So instead, I think that the deer was reaching out toward its 4 children, meaning that the mother wasn't 100% killed but is now forced to live inside of this monstrous body trying to keep her 4 kids safe, which also explains why they were being held with so much protection. The deer tries to kill us, but not the cultists and not the 4 kids who it kidnapped in the first place, meaning the children have some sort of meaning to the deer, just like how the cultists have a meaning to it, meaning it's likely that the deer is in fact the kid's mother, and this empty spot between their tents isn't just a mistake or random game design, but something the kids do to honor the loss of their mom. But let me know what you think down in the comments, and let me know your theory ideas if you want it to be made into a video. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and click on this video right here.